Ladies and gentlemen, uh, I regret I regret to inform you that I'm going to have to wait for some more people to come on here, and someone's going to have to help me figure out how to get this camera turned on because my cell phone is out of data and I cannot buy data. There is no signal for the data to be used because of the storm. So there's no data and there's no signal, even if there was data. I'm using Wi-Fi and I'm at the prawn farm. So I'm now if someone can help me figure out how to get my camera turned on, I'm in this area with the settings. I see sound, I see the charged, but I don't see an area for the camera. But it asked me if I would allow the camera to stay on, and I said yes. It asked me for permission to use the camera, and I said yes. And I don't know how to get it on. Somebody want to give me some information here about that because I've been trying for about an hour now, and I give up. So in the meantime, let me tell you what's going on here in the Philippines, and I'll ask again in a few minutes. My Buntag Jerry Cantrell. Good morning. Good evening to you, probably. Um, the 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 situation here in the Philippines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Turn the camera on. Yeah, I got that part, Jerry. Can you please explain where do you reset it? Look, if you want to, how about you just tell me go to America and go to Lenovo. You want to explain how to get to those places, please? Resetting what? In the beginning of the live stream, it asked me if I would allow the camera, and this. Okay, so that's not. So if you want to tell me how to get to that part to do it, that's fine. But just saying reset it. Why don't I just buy a new computer? Okay. The situation here in the Philippines is not not good. Um, they are now. It, there are less services now than there was a week ago, and it's getting worse. The For instance, right now there's no signal in Panglao at all for Smart or Globe. You can make a phone call, but there's no data signal. Uh, I came to buy a load in Panglao for the last 2 days, and they can't sell a load because they can't load the data into the phone. So I came to the city yesterday in the afternoon. I left Panglao at 2 o'clock, and I got to the city to get a load in the city, and the city doesn't have smart data upload speed. Whatever they need to load the data, they can't do it. Yeah, I don't know how to turn the camera on, John. Uh, that's true. You don't see me, and I don't know what button to push. I'm looking. Jerry, I've tried it. No. It wouldn't work last week. It didn't work the day before yesterday. I've tried this. This is the third day in a row. I'm not going to change. The stream has nothing to do with the camera. It didn't work. I tried to do this 2 days ago or 3 days ago when I streamed. That doesn't work. We're just going to end that conversation now. Okay, so nobody has data. You can't buy data, and you can't order it in advance. You have to pay for it and get it at the store. So You can't use Globe or Smart data. That's problematic. The line for the data was an hour yesterday, and I didn't know there was no data. And when I got to the head of the line, the woman said that there's no data. And I said, well, do you think it would be reasonable that you came outside the booth and said that we have no data? And she said, no, no, sir, because it could turn on at any time. That's true. It could turn on at any time. So I asked the lady, how long has it been off? 3 days, sir. So she's hoping it would turn on any minute when it's been off for 3 days. So this morning's line was about a half an hour long, and I got on the line, and that's in the city yesterday. This morning's line was a half hour long, and as soon as I got online, I went to the front and asked them if they had data. She said, no, sir, no data. I said, so now that's 3 days, right? Yes, sir. So no one can call up and find out when data is going to be available. So I can't live stream from my phone. So that's one problem. Globe is not working data. Smart is not working data. To make a phone call is a hit and miss. The signal is 1 bar and the phone call's cut out. You can send a text, okay. 7-Eleven by my house, 3 kilometers from my house, that's been closed. There's no data. There's no recharging the cell phones. There's no internet because there's no signal. So Panglao has no signal at all for internet, Globe or Smart. The city has internet, but no data. The gas lines yesterday were 7 hours long to get gas. If you got there at like 8 o'clock in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you were still online. And I was at my ex-landlord's house, at the Stanley house, charging my phone early in the afternoon. And probably that person, whoever was in the Stanley house, I don't know all the tenants. He apparently was online for 5 hours or so, and they ran out of gas. So only about one in 6 or 7 or 8 gas stations is open. The lines are 3 to 5 to 7 hours long. You can only buy 4 liters of fuel. If you have a motorcycle or a tricycle, maximum 4 liters. If you have a car, maximum 17 liters. That's another problem. Some of the lines are a half a mile long. I'm not videotaping a gas line, but some of them are a half a mile long. Let's see, what else? There's no loads, there's no gas, there's no signal. The water truck that was supposed to come to the house on the 22nd, the 23rd, didn't show up. And then Christmas Eve at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the water truck showed up. So people waited in front of their house for 3 days to get water. There's no ice in Panglao. There's no store to buy ice in Panglao. They just don't have. They can't make it fast enough. If there is a place, I don't know where it is. There's no ATM machines in Panglao except at the bank when the bank is open. Only when the bank is open. Now, I'll give you an idea how problematic that is right now. If you get online, it's about half full. About half the restaurant has the seat's full. If you get online at an ATM machine, the ATM machine doesn't turn on until the bank opens up its doors at 9 o'clock in the morning, or or when they put the power on, maybe at 8:30. Now I got online for an ATM machine in the mall here at about a minute after 8 o'clock, and I was number 30, 34, 35, like that in line. It took 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's 130 minutes for 30 people to use an ATM machine because the bank only turns the ATM machine on at 8:30 when they turned on their lights, and of the two ATM machines, only one is working. So that was an average of 30 into 130 is an average of 4+ minutes per person. Me, it takes 45 seconds. I'm at the terminal and gone. But there was one man took 12 minutes, another woman took 9 minutes for one transaction because we could see what they were doing. We were sitting right in chairs right by the ATM machine. So to go 35 people was 2 hours and 10 minutes. And only a few of the ATM machines in the city are open, but nothing. There were no ATM machines in Panglao yesterday that I could find that were open. So, let's see. It rained yesterday. That was a good thing. We literally got three 45-gallon barrels of water. Not me, but my landlord got 3 barrels of water from the rain, and she gave it, anybody that wanted it because it was going to rain again today. So I have now 25 gallons of rainwater to wash with, which is a blessing because I missed the water truck because I wasn't going to stay home Christmas Eve waiting for a possible water truck delivery. Is there anybody else that knows how to possibly turn this camera on? I'd be happy to do it. If someone could give me step-by-step directions, I'd be happy to turn the camera on. I can see the settings for the microphone, but I don't know and I have at the bottom, at the bar, I see the settings for the camera. No, that's a meet now setting. Okay, no, that's not it. It's a Lenovo computer. Okay, nobody's able to assist me with that. I understand. I own the computer and I can't get it on, so I should have brought it to the store that I bought it this morning, but there was a line in front of the store to get in the store that was probably an hour long. There's a lot of lines. God. And the thing that I was laughing this morning, I got a mail. When I opened up my mail, Globe, yeah, Andrew could help. Globe would, all right, Frank Flywood's one is here with an update from Bhutan. Okay, so this apparently then, thanks Flywoods. Apparently this is a global thing, a local global thing, no internet. Yeah. Okay. So 100 miles of no internet. Well, you don't need electricity to have internet because, well, actually, you do. Okay, I'm wrong about that. But the data thing, like if smart internet was turned on and you had power, like yesterday, my ex landlord at the Stanley house, he had a generator on. So we had a generator on, but it was only one bar of smart and it was intermittent. You'd have to wait like 10 minutes to open up a video and then it would reload forever. So, all right, so this internet thing is global. I guess they're working on that. Yeah. Uh, I never wanted to own a generator. I could have bought one at any time before the storm. Uh, the inconvenience of not having electric 1 day a week or 1 day a month or sometimes blackouts is it's okay for me. But this is now over a week, and I don't really think it warrants the cost of a generator, John. Not for me. I don't need it that bad. Most Palawan. Oh yeah. Oh, the Palawan money sending people. The lines are down the block. You're right, Flywoods. The lines are even upstairs in the mall here on the second floor. When I went to get my load this morning, there was a line halfway around the entire uh, mall to get into the Palawan, not the Palawan, Western Union. There was a line probably 200 people plus long to get into Western Union. I haven't seen the Palawan, but yesterday, the Palawan pawn shop in Poblacion, that was open and the line was all the way down the block. Water lines to get bottles of water filled um, are a mile long in some places. Water is problematic. It's terrible. So getting back to John Boone Bean, um, an inexpensive generator, diesel, not gasoline, was well. I didn't buy one, but a friend of mine bought one 2 years ago. It was 65,000 pesos, about $1,300. Um, I don't need one. Well, I didn't think I would ever need one. So to spend $1,300 to turn it on 1 day a month when they shut the power off, we know it goes off 1 day a month. 1 day a month, they service the power plant. They shut it down, take the coal out, whatever they do to the power plant. 1 day a month, it shuts off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and by 5 or 6 o'clock at night, they have it back on. But to spend 65,000 pesos again for a diesel generator, um, it didn't. I don't think it warranted it. And an inexpensive gas generator was about $2,500, and I don't like. They use a lot of gas, so I don't think it warranted $500 expense because I don't use that much. Yeah, I never thought it was going to be a month with no power. If I would have knew it was going to be a month with no power, I could have told everybody that we were going to have a superstorm, and then I would be psychic. So to spend $1,300 for something you use once a month is not a good investment, in my opinion. And it does cause a lot of problems to have power here. When the power went out, everybody said to me, "You go buy a generator. You buy a generator. We'll run a cord to your house." And I said, "I don't want a generator." No, you buy a generator. You buy. So the Stanley house needs the generator to pump the water up to the roof for the water tanks, and they're very. As soon as the van pulls up with their generator in it, they beep the horn, let us know that the generator is going to go on for 2 hours, and we get they do that every other day. So for me, it's okay. I get my phone charged. Problem now is getting a load. That is a problem. So yesterday, I came into the city when there was no loads in Pang Lao. At 2 o'clock, I left Pang Lao. I got home at 8 o'clock last night. That was 6 hours. Because they cut down, I don't know what happened. There were no jeepneys. So I waited I was at the jeepney terminal, and when I got there was like 60 people ahead of me. So when the jeepney came at 5:30, it loaded up with the people that were already in the queue. So now the next jeepney didn't come until 6:30, but we didn't know that. So no, 6:30, excuse me, 7 o'clock the next jeepney came. And what had happened is myself and 3 women who all live in my area, we decided to take a tricycle home. And we were going to get a tricycle. The guy only wanted 300 pesos. They're not gouging us on the prices. So we decided to take the tricycle home. We got in the tricycle, and we got about 400 feet away from the terminal, and the guy got a flat. So we got out, and we went back to the terminal, and when we got back there, the jeepney that had pulled up is full. But the jeepney driver conductor said, "We will fit you in." Not me, but the ladies, myself, and 2 or 3 other people, because that's all the people that were left, and it was getting late. So they rearranged the inside of the jeepney by pushing everybody forward, and then we all got in. Myself, the 3 ladies, and maybe 3 other people behind us. So we didn't leave there till after 7, and we got home. I got home at 8:30. It was a long day, a very long day, and I never got a load. Today I came to get a load, and I didn't get a load. And as I said before, I waited for 2 hours and 10 minutes to get money from the bank because I chose the wrong bank. Not the wrong bank to get money from, but the line at one of my banks was long. And I figured, and it was only, the doors opened up at 8 o'clock. So we're talking 30 seconds after the door opened up. There was already, well, maybe 3 minutes, because there was a few hundred people ahead of us on queue. All of those people were waiting to go to the bank. So everybody ahead of me was waiting to go to the bank or an ATM machine. So that was, so I went down to the other end of the building to get money from the other bank, figuring that the line would be short. And it was 32 people, 35 people, 34 people, something like that. And it was 2 hours and 10 minutes to let 34 or 35 people go ahead of me. Well, that went ahead of me. The lines, oh my God. Everywhere there's a line for everything. Solar panels, John. Solar panels are $1,000 plus for a solar panel that would run your refrigerator or something like that. I'm not going to do that. Of course, solar panels are a good idea, but where would I put them? Where am I going to put them? On top of my house with all that other stuff? Not a good idea. Good idea if you have a house with a real roof. Yeah, they have a solar panel setup that the Stanley house was looking into. It would run an air conditioner. It was 260 batteries, Dennis Adams, 260 batteries, truck batteries, a certain amount of panels, and the switch and the converter was five, repeat that, five, I'm going to say it again, $5,000. He went to the solar panel store about 3 days ago, $5,000. So, and with that, he could run his refrigerator during the day or the aircon, one or the other, but not both. And you could run a computer all the time. So a decent solar array to run an aircon during the day only, because an air conditioner would kill two batteries in a few minutes, was $5,000. Um, he's not going to get that. In fact, it's not a good invest. It's not a good investment. So the reason that he wanted to get it is someone needs to use electric for work. So it's actually cheaper for the lady that needs the electric to do her job, not the owner, but one of the ladies that stays there. It's cheaper for her to go to Manila and live in a hotel for a month or two than it is to buy the solar array. You know, that's Flywoods. I haven't looked at the towers. I got to do that. That might be, well, but yeah, but the thing is, like last week we had perfect internet. Until 3 days ago, we had perfect internet. So I don't think it's the dishes. John, what are you talking about? You would just have the freezer full of meat and no electricity or more for a whole day. John, the if you're talking about when my freezer was full of meat, the I had 10 liters of ice water, 11 liters of ice water in the freezer, frozen, and the meat stayed frozen for 3.5 or 4 days. And by then, I had eaten, a good portion of it. And on the fourth day, I cooked all the rest of the meat, and I just put it in the freezer because the water was still cold. So I actually the ice lasted 5 days, let's say, and in those 5 days, I didn't have a lot of meat. I only had about 3 kilos of meat in the refrigerator, so I was lucky. LOL, you buy the generator. We'll supply the extension cord. Yeah. Oh, they were serious too. You buy. You buy. They need power. They need a lot of stuff here. I need another bowl of soup. Soup today is egg drop soup. Excellent soup. They are giving out pieces of chicken at the buffet. A quarter of the chicken. or maybe they chopped the chicken into 8 pieces, but a decent sized chicken, not one of those little half a kilo roasters. These are a decent sized chicken, and the pieces are as big as my half my hand, every piece. Funny Boy Pete burgers. Yeah, well, um, Funny Boy Pete burgers. You got to understand a couple of things. The only way I have to cook is wood. There's no, there's no, um, there's no way. I don't have a gas stove, so I could buy 2 kilos of meat and cook it up, but I have no way to store it overnight. It's warm. It would last one day, but I don't want to do that. So it's easier for me to just come into the city, have my today I'll have today I'll have the prawn farm meal. Yesterday I only ate 2 cucumbers and let's see, 2 cucumbers, about 10 lemons, and a bulb of garlic mixed in with the cucumber salad. Today I'll have prawn farm. Tomorrow I have two more cucumbers with lemons and garlic, and the next day I'll come back to the prawn farm. You gotta you gotta work around this. I got nothing to cook on except a charcoal barbecue drill, which works fine, but there's nowhere to store the food. And besides, right now, if I was to go downstairs right now and get online, buy meat, I will be online for 2.5 or 3 hours. Now, I could have got it this morning, but it was a question of getting money or getting food. And I figured, well, there's only 34 people. How long could it take? I'll get them money. I could use my credit card to buy the food, but I just made a wrong decision this morning. I should have just used my credit card for everything. But I wanted to have some cash in my pocket for the holidays. What if I want to do something? So you have to have some cash, and the no ATM machines in Panglao, no ATM and no bank credit, no banks are open now. So I had to get some cash, and I made a decision to get cash today instead of going shopping. But if I go down the line in the supermarket, I have not waited less than 2 hours. Not waited less than 2 hours. Well, 3 weeks ago for the holidays, before the blackout, it was a 90-minute wait online. The last time was just over 2 hours, and the lines today already, because of New Year's, are longer than 2 to 3 hours. So I don't want to wait online for 3 hours. So if I went downstairs and bought food now at 12 o'clock, I'd be online till 3. And then it takes an hour and a half to get home. So I eat in a restaurant for $8 and I just have my one meal. Dennis Adam, I got my wife to make that. I'm sure she makes a good egg drop soup. It's hard to make a good egg drop soup too because you got to know how to drop the eggs in the water. I had a lot of pork in the freezer, right? Yeah, but I hadn't bought any pork for a week before the blackout. So and I hadn't had a full freezer full of pork. I just had, oh, I estimate when the blackout occurred, I had 3.5 kilos maximum of pork, maybe probably closer to 3 kilos, and I ate that up within the 5 days that was still cold inside. I got a, I got right now. I got a hankering for another bowl of soup and another plate of chicken. So I'll be back. You guys talk with each other. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I got a hankering. I got a hankering for some southern broiled chicken. And soup. And soup. The soup is on the table. Okay, I'm back. I gotta tell you this. They were down to the bottom of the soup barrel where there was nothing but chunks of chicken and egg drops, chunks of chicken the size of a dime. I scored that. Yeah, that egg drop soup is a lot of eggs, a lot of chicken. Let me get back to the comment. Lechenberg is here. Thank you for stopping by. Goodbye, Wayne. What little signal we had was on, off, on, off, on, off. Yeah, yeah, flywoods. Flywoods. That's when Wayne and Anna brought their generator for the Stanley house yesterday. The signal was at best on for 1 or 2 minutes, really, not much longer than that, and then off for 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, and then like that back and forth. And that's when they took the generator after they were done pumping the water. Wayne gave me a ride up to Poblacion to the 7-Eleven, and the 7-Eleven was closed. And then I went to the load store. That was closed. The load store next to the 7-Eleven was open, but they couldn't sell loads because they couldn't get a signal. So, yeah, intermittent at best. And that's not even. But here in the city, there's no signal at all. Nothing now at all. No, I couldn't even get online this morning with my phone. But now it's a moot point because I used up the data that I bought last week. You know, you just run out of data. Yeah, the estimate that I got yesterday was a little bit more than a month from now, probably closer to 2 months. Now what they're doing is how they're doing it. They did bring in trucks from Cebu, and they brought in Bohico trucks from Cebu, and they brought in trucks from Manila, but they split that up between Bohol and Leyte. They estimate that the power lines on the main highways will be working in about a month. But the roads that go off to the side, they haven't touched the roads. Like you can look down the road and see the telephone poles gone or, knocked down from a tree or just broken. They're not touching that stuff. They're just disconnecting the wire from the main trunk line, call it a trunk line. They're disconnecting the power from the trunk line down the tributary roads, like my road. They just disconnected the power because there's a lot of broken lines on my block. So the main roads, what they're doing is they're trying to get, they're still missing poles. They're trying to get, if the pole was broken, they're disconnecting the power from the pole and letting the wires just hang free. And then they're removing the pole. They have the boom truck there. They have the boom truck set up. They pick up the broken pole with the boom truck, and then there's another boom truck, not the boom truck with the arm on, the mechanical arm. That picks up the pole, and then there's a boom truck, a bucket truck that goes up above where they grab the pole and releases the cables, the electrical cable. But they estimate a month before they'll have power on the main lines. and then they'll start working on the streets. So a month on my block, I'm all the way at the end of Pang Lao. It could be 2 months or 3 months before we have power. It could be less. I could be wrong, but if they're going to go one block at a time and they're going to start in the city, they have 20 kilometers of side tributary roads to repair before they get to my house. So I don't expect to have power. And I'll be honest with you. Uh, well, now that it rained, thank God for the rain. Now that it rained, we all have water to wash with and flush. But I had water to flush anyway because all I have to do is walk to the ocean. It's about a 2 minute walk to the ocean with two 5 gallon buckets. I fill them up halfway, and that gives me two flushes. And I'm good for the day. And as far as taking a bath when we didn't have water, the ocean water is just fine to take a bath in. You bring your soap and your rag. You jump in the ocean. You wash just like you were taking a bath. You rinse off with the ocean water, which there's plenty of. And then I come back to the house, and my bottled water that I drink, you can really rinse off pretty good with, I don't know, a gallon and a half of water. So you pay 20 pesos for 5 gallons. So it might cost you 10 pesos to rinse off. But the problem without having fresh water is not being able to wash your clothes. But now we have 120 gallons stored now of fresh water and 5,000 gallons in the tank next door. Well, we're good now. But if it didn't rain, we would be out of water. Water, power, and food, yeah, along with cash. Dennis Adams. Who is this Wayne Yurovich here? Oh, Wayne. The electric goes off 1 day a month. What do I need a generator for? On that day, what if I'm not using a power? What if I don't need power? Yeah, I'm glad he blocked you. He blocked you, but I'm going to block you forever. He timed you out. You're out of here, Wayne. You don't know anything about construction. You want to spend 65,000 pesos for when you lose power for a couple of 12 hours for 1 day? You do that. You're the guy. You're the guy. You're gone anyway. You're not coming back either, baby. You know more about construction than I do. Goodbye, Wayne. Dennis waved. Yeah, I don't really want to be. I don't. You have to maintain it. It's enough stuff that I maintain now. Okay, so Letchenberg, with just enough solar to run the computer and phone. Yeah, no, no, you can't do it like that. Um, okay, so here's how it has to work. The phone is never going to work until they put new cables on. The cables, the cables for the phone from the house, I have fiber optics. Those cables are gone. 90%, well, I don't know what the percentage is. 50% of all the fiber optics on my block, all the cables are just laying in the street. Globe is going to have to come down block by block and replace the fiber optic cables. So if I had electric, the Wi-Fi would work. But you're gonna you're talking about 2 liters an hour, maybe. You're talking about 102 dollars an hour to run the generator, and it just doesn't pay to do it like to do it. I don't. I understand you have to outlay to for an expense, but I don't see where there's a balance. If I knew I wasn't going to have electric 5 days a month, then I would have owned a generator. But we don't have those problems. We have 1 day a month, and if you go online to on Facebook, Bahico Electric tells you that Saturday, the 19th, there's not going to be electric from 5 o'clock in the morning on. Now, the 100 or so short blackouts that we get for 5 or 10 minutes, that's not going to stop a construction project. And there's nothing that I'm doing that's important enough for me to warrant buying a generator. I don't see why you don't get it. That guy Wayne, whatever his name was, 2 mouse clicks and they're gone. Flywoods has the power. Flywoods, you block anybody you want. If you have a wrench on my channel, you have total say so over what's right and wrong. I think one time in the last year, somebody got blocked by accident that I corrected. But other than that, if you think they need blocking, you block them, baby. Flywoods has the power. Yeah. So getting back to Lachanberg, Bird. I could get power to the internet if I wanted. If I had a battery and the solar converter, I could do that. But it's not the most important thing for me. I like the computer, but if I don't have a computer for a few days, if I had data on my cell phone, I wouldn't need the computer. There's nothing I use the computer for that I need it for. Luxembourg, I made egg drop soup this morning. That is what a man. I wouldn't even know how to start to how to make egg drop soup, especially not good like this. This got it's chicken and egg drop, and it's delicious. No, Dennis, you're wrong about that. Well, they don't use wooden poles anymore. But to be honest, the wooden poles, they did not stand up at all. Um, if there was an area, and there is one in Bahal, right outside the Biku Mall, where there's two wooden poles that are on a 45-degree angle over the road. And the block after that, there's one broke outside the road. And the block before that, there's one or two blocks on the outside of the road. The wooden poles did not, they were also old. They were probably in the ground 40 years. They did not stand up at all. You can use a cell phone for an internet hotspot on your laptop. Okay. Well, I don't know how to do that. But I don't need it if my cell phone is working. To be honest, I'm okay with what I've had so far. I've not lacked anything because the Stanley House has given us power every other day for free at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The Stanley House has given us water. Even though they were running out of water, they still allowed me to take 5 gallons of fresh water. And the Stanley House has given a few other people water, but anybody is welcome to charge their cell phone at the Stanley House when the generator goes on. So they've been very generous. Um, as far as the people themselves, um, the locals don't need to charge their cell phones, and they don't have computers. So there's not a real big need for that. Um, any of the locals with cell phones were allowed to come over and charge, but most of the locals, none of the locals I know have a computer. And and as far as a cell phone, no, you got to remember now. You got to take all this into consideration. The people here have not worked for a year and a half. They don't have money for loads. They don't have money for internet data. They have money for to make. They get their unlimited texting for 2 days for 20 pesos. But they don't really need a lot as far as power or internet is concerned. So of the 30 or so gadgets that are on the table, I think only one was from the local. The rest of it was from the people from the hotel. And what people are doing is they're charging up all their cell phones, even if they only have one SIM card. So when one cell phone dies, they put it in the other SIM. They put the SIM card in the other cell phone. Okay, Latchenberg, that's a perfectly normal comment. Negros Oriental hit very hard. I didn't even. That's the first I've heard that name. I know where it is. I was there once. They lost a lot of electrical infrastructure, transmission poles. Dumaguete to the south, 2 hours has little damage. But now everything, yeah, the storm was heading up that way north. Where we got hit the hardest on Bohol is a place called Ubay. That's 100 kilometers from where we are. They had sustained winds of 300, 360 kilometers per hour gusts, 180-mile-an-hour gusts. Apparently, where I am, the gusts were 150 plus, I guess. It did a lot of damage, but it could have been a lot worse. I'm going to go do if I would have, you know what I didn't do? No. I wanted to do a live stream of what's left of the tree that fell down next to my house. That would have crushed the house altogether. That was an amazing thing. Me having taken the video out the window and shutting the camera off by mistake, put my head back in the window a little bit. I never had my head out of the window. Didn't have my hands out of the window or my head, but the window was open. And as soon as I turned the camera back on, that 2,000 pounds of wood just went right past my nose, maybe 3 inches away. That was an amazing thing. I laughed a little bit because if that wood would have blown back 18 inches, it would have come down on the header and crushed the house for sure. I mean, it would have crushed the roof right down to the floor, and I would have been between the roof, and the floor. I was in bed. It would have just turned me into tomato juice, and the glass from the window probably would have finished off if there was anything alive left. The glass from the window would have cut me up pretty good. You were saying, oh yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off about that, Lutzenberg. Well, what I said was true, and what I see, what I think happened is sad. But I said nobody is reporting this exactly as you just said it, and considering the size of the storm and the potential to have a terribly big storm, it should have been the only thing on the internet that for days before the storm, and it wasn't. And then to make matters worse, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if you were on windy.com, which is what I was showing the people on the internet, windy.com, if you just Google windy.com, wherever your computer is set up for, doesn't matter if you're in, you know, Negros or Manila or Dumaguete, wherever your IP address is, it shows you what where what your weather pattern is doing. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it said that the maximum sustained winds were going to be 70 mile per hour, 70 kilometer per hour gusts. That's nothing. That's 35 miles an hour. It's like riding a motorcycle down the block. At 9 o'clock, and at 5 o'clock the power went out. So what difference does it make what reporting was done after 5 o'clock? No one heard it. The internet went off and the power went out. So the newscasters are basically telling people in Manila, where they had power and internet, that there's going to be a storm in Bohol. So they totally dropped the ball. They should be fired. They should. They didn't report it, and then they reported it inaccurate by four times the wind speed. They should be fired. That's my opinion. And if you remember that little fella, he was throwing digs at me. Fazio, well, not, you don't use Fazio. The fat man thinks he's reporting the weather. I was reporting the weather. The fat man thinks he's a weatherman now. I was doing the weatherman's job. I have lived all my life on the water. I watch the weather. I know what time the tide is going to be high. I know what time the tide is going to be low. For instance, the tide now in Panglao is high at, I think, 6 a.m. this morning. And the reason I know is because I need to take a bath. So I know, but I always know when the tide is up, because if I'm going to go take a walk, if I want to walk to the Bellevue just for exercise, I need to know if the tide is up or down, so I know what shoes to wear. But yeah, the little fella, he was the fat man thinks he's. I was reporting the weather, little fella, and I was right. And what did the little fella say? The little fella, he gets everything wrong. The little fella said, word for word. Now it's my opinion, because now he was contradicting my weather forecast. The little fella. Imagine him contradicting me. The little fella said, "It's my opinion that the Philippines is going to get a good washing down." Those were his words. Washing down. This is the storm of the century and also the biggest storm since 1990, 31 years ago. And the little fella's estimate was everybody's going to get a good washing down. He was wrong again. The little fella doesn't get anything right. Sad to say. If the little fella watched the news and listened and went to windy.com like I showed people to go to, you would see that the circumference, not circumference, the diameter of the storm was upwards of 350 kilometers where there was wind, serious wind. So that's 200 miles. That's a big storm, little fella. But we don't blame you for getting everything wrong because that was the week you did the candle burning ceremony and Satan stole part of your soul. He robbed it from you. Whatever sanity you had left, Satan removed that part of your soul, and you could not determine how much weather there was going to be because your ability to have cognitive reasoning disappeared. That black magic takes more from you than it gets the job done. Doesn't get the job done like you think it. You're playing with powers and principalities that you know nothing about, little fella. And it backfired on you. You got the storm wrong. You got blowing my house down wrong. You got me choking to death on a prawn farm, on a prawn wrong. Little fella, playing with black magic and candle bearing ceremonies. Do you see? Do you see what it did to your ability to have rational thought this week? It robbed you of your ability to have rational thinking going on inside your head. Your rational thinking was taken away from you. The black magic boomerang. Let's call it the black magic boomerang. Yeah, they. I don't know about if they were aluminum, but the metal poles, a lot of metal poles that they just put in with the new lights, they just twisted up and fell down. Yeah, Stanley House is not taking any guests. That's right. Well, um, what is your point? The Stanley House is booked most of the time. It's a really nice place to stay. Well, and you got to also remember, Mike. It's New Year's Eve, my friend. It'll be New Year's Eve in 24 hours, 48 hours. Um, New Year's is a busy time in the Philippines. But the Stanley House is a beautiful place to stay. It's only every room has a view of the ocean, and it's only a 90-second walk to the ocean. Can't ask for more than that. Huh. I would imagine that plywoods, you have mountainous areas where you live, I think. I remember you talking about going up and down the mountains with your bicycle. The mountains would definitely, hello, the mountains would definitely slow down the storm. The angry man. Oh, there's a, oh God, there's a channel. I heard, oh man, I just finished praying for the little fella and I turned on my uploads, to get my updates, and I hear Fazio this and Fazio that, and wait till I get back, and he's lost his mind. He doesn't understand that all those things he talks about in the video are only in his mind. There's nothing. There's nothing in his last 3 or 4 major rants. There's nothing in his last 3 or 4 major rants where he can quote a law or an ordinance that has been broken. Not one single thing. Not one single thing. There's no laws have been broken. I talked about this before. And he's been saying it for years. If you make a video, anybody can use the video for, if it's a public video, anybody can use the video for whatever reason they want to use it for. So no laws have been broken. And that's why I said that black magic candle burning ceremony removed what little sanity he had left inside his head. He's now spouting things that, one, can't be proven. Two, there's no evidence to prove the things he wants to prove. And three, no laws have been broken. Now, he can take that anywhere he wants. If a law had been broken, he wouldn't be talking about hiring lawyers. He'd be talking about the NBI or the cyber crimes. But no laws have been broken. Therefore, he wants to hire lawyers. And that will backfire on him as well, because it'll be a frivolous lawsuit. And then what's going to happen is he's going to pay his lawyers. And if I have to hire a lawyer to defend myself, he's going to have to pay for my lawyers. And his lawyers are going to tell him that when he decides to file this frivolous lawsuit. But his anger and his rage videos, if you listen carefully to them, it's pure hate. There's no rhyme or reason or justification for the hate itself. I never made up any stories about him. I never posted anything to anybody, anywhere, anyhow, legally or illegally. So I can't get in trouble for something that somebody else did. And because I know that those videos exist, now I'm responsible for who passes them around? I don't think so. Now he'll take that. Well, he knew that. I know a lot of stuff. I know that you can't file charges on somebody, on me, for something somebody else did. If you think you can, you can't. And if you do, it's called a frivolous lawsuit. And most people won't, most prosecutors and judges won't even listen to it. They'll read what you have as an evidence base, and they'll say, no, there's no justification for this case. We're not gonna tie up the court system for that. But his hate, his anger, does not allow him to see clearly that he has no evidence whatsoever to file a legal lawsuit against me or anybody else, really, for that matter, that I know of. I mean, maybe somebody did something that I don't know about, but he's lost his mind. That's as near as I can put it. When I was in the prawn farm 3 days ago, a man named Ray asked if he could sit at the table, and I said, sure. And he sat at the table, and I let him listen to the little fella's video. And in 10 minutes, he said, not only is the guy crazy. This is Ray's opinion, but for threatening people on YouTube in a public fashion, he's doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing legally. That was Ray's opinion. So his ranting and raging, plus throwing my name in the mix, is what he's doing. He's trying to get me excited, so I'll mention his name and at the same time somehow threaten him. That's what he's trying to do, but that's not working. So his rage and hate and anger keeps escalating because he can't get what he wants. And if he can't get what he wants, it's a vicious circle. He needs to get that evidence that doesn't exist. So he is now going out on every limb possible, screaming like a banshee at the wind. There is no evidence that I have done anything illegal or wrong or even immoral. You know, him throwing my name out there that this guy and wait till this guy and wait till go out waiting, dude. The one thing that you should remember is that I hear you. Okay? I hear what you're saying. And again, you keep throwing into the mix. I got the evidence, and his face is in the video. That ain't going to work this time. If you're going to throw civil charges at me, they'll listen to the video with or without faces. Not that it matters. They're going to take one listen to your nonsense, ramblings of a crazy man, and they're going to... Dude, you had a woman or a man trolling your channel pretending to be a cynical psychologist. Flywoods mentioned this. And it made that clinical psychologist, Flywoods pointed this out to me this morning. That clinical psychologist was not a clinical psychologist. They may know something about psychology, but what they were doing was they were taking attributes of the little fella's personality and throwing it up and using my name, or the pustule man, or fat man, or shrimp prawn guy, whatever name they were using in your live stream. They were using my name and throwing out the attributes that you possess, the insane ideas that you have, the insanity. You think that me painting my tools yellow is insanity. It's proof that I'm insane. Me painting my tools yellow protects them from getting rusty, and it lets me see them if they fall in the dirt. You just can't get that through your head that yellow paint is a safety color. And the clinical psychologist agreeing with you that I'm crazy because I paint my tools yellow. Little fella. They were trolling you. They were trolling you, little fella. They were all trolling you, little fella. You know they were trolling you, little fella. Now you know they were trolling you, little fella. They were trolling you, dude. They were trolling you. They made you believe that the psychologist, you were spouting, I have a clinical psychologist on my side now. But everything that person pointed out was an attribute of you, little fella. Everything that clinical psychologist pointed out was a direct attribute to your darkened soul, shall we call it. Let's go back to the comments. Yeah, you praying that I was floating out to sea a mile off the coast. Yeah, That's going to go over real well when we go to court. And the black magic candle ceremony, you put your face in there. Your face is in the black magic. Your face, your table with the witches, with the altar and the candle, and that's your face. And I got that live, dude. Plywood says Jerry Cantrell, nasty man, is disappointed that Michael survived. Oh, he was beside himself in anger, if that is even possible. He was on a real. He was on a. Oh, he was on a mission the other day. Michael Fazio, you're going to jail. Michael Fazio, dude, listen very carefully. Listen to the sound of my voice. You have no evidence. You have no evidence that will stand up in a court of law. I cannot be prosecuted for what little you believe evidence to be. Your anger is consuming you. I prayed for your soiled soul. And then I got online, and the first video that I listened to was you talking about how I'm going to take that 500,000 and you're going to need a lot more, and you're going to spend years of your life in a Philippines prison. You, my friend, have problems. So I suggest you seek professional help. If you think professional help is in the form of a lawyer, the only person that's going to get helped out in that case is the lawyer. You're going to throw a lot of money out the window, dude. And talking about a lot of money out the window. We're talking about a lot of money. I'm going to hire the best lawyers, and if I have to hire... Dude, no one cares what you think. Dude, listen carefully. I told you last week. I warned you last week that doing black magic candle ceremonies against me or anybody else, that you were getting involved with powers and principalities that not only do you not understand, but you have no control over them because you don't understand what you're doing. Okay? Just because you wish and want something and pray to some satanic being, just loosely disguised as Lady Karma, does not mean that you're going to get what you want. And in this case, Lady Karma, Satan, satanic forces, evil, black magic, whatever you want to call it, made the tree fall an inch away from my house instead of crushing me and the house in one fell swoop. Lady Karma made the coconut tree blow 60 feet away from my house instead of landing on my house and crushing the entire house with me in it. Lady Karma made the wind come from a direction where the container protected my house. Lady Karma made the wind come and not affect anything on my property except the $20, 1,000 peso tarpaulin. It ripped. It's laying on the ground in the backyard. I had 1,000 pesos worth of damage. And you prayed for my total destruction. Dude, you are fooling around with powers and principalities that you don't know how to control, and you don't know what you're doing. I told you, don't do it. You don't listen. You just don't listen. You think I'm kidding you. You don't listen. That's your problem. Your hate has consumed you. I told you don't do that. What more? How do I have to explain it to you that when you start praying to powers and principalities that have to do with the prince of darkness, that's what you're going to get. And it bounced back in the form of a boomerang at you, where it cost you several $1,000s to give to somebody that didn't even need these problems. You brought those problems on somebody that you care about. Of course, we can't blame you for making the storm, but you sure did wish that storm was going to do damage to me. And as it turns out, the storm did damage to somebody that you care about. Is that my fault? No, that's your fault. And the bottom line is, had you not begged and pleaded with Lady Karma, aka Satan, to have my total destruction, maybe the destruction to the people that you care about wouldn't have happened. Maybe it would have. But that's karma. Karma is that you prayed for my destruction and somebody that you care about got destroyed. That's karma. Good karma, bad karma. It's called what in the Eastern philosophical concept of karma, in the Zen methodology, it's called the chains, chains, the chains of karma. The chains of karma bind you to this world. So, if you pray to a negative force for something negative to happen, it may not work out your way. That's where the chains of karma come in. You you change yourself to this negative emotion, this hate, this this hate rage. You did that. I didn't do that. I'm a happy-go-lucky type of guy. I like painting stuff yellow because everybody knows that God's favorite color is yellow, and the color of God is yellow. And yellow makes you mellow, like me. I'm a very mellow man. You know that. If I wasn't, oh, oh boy, oh boy. But I am. I like painting stuff yellow. I like to look at my yellow tools. I, I, I like the color. It protects them from the weather. Oh yeah, yellow and God and me and my tools were all one. We are one with the universe. Jerry Cantrell says Lady Karma will come back and bite him. That's right. Batman stamps you will Batman stamps will find you guilt. Yeah, I heard something about that this morning, Frank Plywoods. Um, I'm not real sure how. Okay, so I know he's going to get me put in jail in America and the Philippines for something with Somebody sent something out with Batman stamps. It wasn't me. And look, here's the bottom line, Frank Flywoods. The bottom line is, I, Michael Fazio, have never been involved with sending anything to anybody outside the Philippines other than T-shirts to my brother and his girlfriend, and that was 5 years ago. So there's no paper trail, there's no physicality. Where and when I sent those out, I had to give them my driver's license and a documentation. What was in the freaking what was in the envelope? Why was I sending it? I had to fill out a form. So tracing anything back to me, number one, it's not possible because I didn't do it. And number two, there would be a paper trail and you'd be able to find it. It has nothing to do with me. And because it has Batman stamps, I have no idea what the hell he's talking about with the Batman stamps. I heard somehow Batman stamps, and I have no idea what that was. I didn't finish listening to that video. Flywoods. Flywood said Ruby won today on her live stream. Mention him again, and he will be in a 9x9 cell. You know what? The guy is out of control. He doesn't have the authority to put people in jail. What he's doing now is he's trying to scare everybody away from anything that they may want to do to him, because he knows that his time, or his window of opportunity, he's losing his window of opportunity to make cases happen and stick. He has no evidence. When Ruby goes to court, that's going to be one problem that he has. If Dimples goes to court, that could be another problem that he has. And if he takes me to court, he's going to lose. So he's got to try to have some of these people back off him. How many battles do you think he can fight at one time? He's not a well man. You can see the strain. You can hear the strain in his voice. Listen to this guy. He's threatening people's lives, literally threatening their livelihood, their finances. He's threatening to not have me. He's going to stop me from building he's not going to stop me from building a hotel. Why he thinks like that is because something's wrong inside his head. He can't do that. He can't stop me from getting permits. The permits are done. He can't stop me from building a hotel. Everything's already signed off. What he really should do is help finance the hotel, and I'll put his name on one of the rooms. If he wants to be famous. And talking about famous, how many people donated to his cause? Come on, man. If he wants to be famous, what he needs to do is donate a whole bunch of money to me, and I'll put his name on the first door at the top of the stairs. And I'll put a sign on in the hallway, this way to little fella, the room of the little fella. And I'll put his name. I'll put a picture up there. I'll put a little placard. This money was donated by the angry man to Mr. Michael Fazio as an apology for threatening Michael Fazio's well-being and having Michael Fazio choke on a shrimp and having Michael Fazio's leg, somehow something bad happened to Michael Fazio's leg, and having Michael Fazio float in the ocean. Send me $50,000, little fella, and I'll put your name. I tell you what, for $50,000, I'll get a three-dimensional computer image of you. Your face, and put it on the door, right? And then I'll have your name. I'll put a little light on the door over, so your face is illuminated all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'll get a little solar cell for a backup light in case we run out of power at the hotel. And I'll put a placard at the top of the stairs, turn right to the little fella's room. And the little fella, and then when you open the door, there'll be little fella memorabilia, little fella picture, placard of you with the black magic candle ceremony, and a little fella, you, what else did you like to do? With dog biscuits, a little fella, you with little three-dimensional, the ones they make with the laser beams. Yeah, for $50,000, I'll put your name on the door, and we'll have three-dimensional little fella memorabilia all over the room. You could even, for an extra 500 pesos a night, we'll get little fella bed sheets with little fella, um, you know, you know, embroidered pillows and little fella linen, and we could have little fella slippers at the foot of the bed, so when you get out of the bed, you don't step on the cold tile floor. You got your nice warm little fella slippers. You could keep the slippers. We'll give those away as mementos for the hotel. Little fella slippers, and I tell you what, let's just go all out. We'll have the little fella linens and the little fella uh, pillowcases and the little fella slippers. We'll let the people take home the little fella slippers and the little fella pillowcase. They can put the slippers in the pillowcase, and for $50 more, we'll get little fella uh, smoking jackets like you have to used to wear. The ones that he would, one of those purple robes with the black silks belts and stuff. We'll have little fella smoking jackets and little fella slippers, so you don't have to walk on the cold tile, and little fella pillowcases to put your little fella junk in, and your name. Oh God, I could for 50,000 we could do a lot with the little fella memorabilia. What do you guys think about that? Nothing wrong with painting things yellow. Yellow is God's color, by the way. Plywoods. I heard something about that. I heard the lady's kitchen is intact. I'm glad about that. That woman doesn't have anything to do with the little fella, really. Funny boy Peter Pete's Burgers. Well, that comment, I don't, I'm not going to let that comment. I'm not going to show that comment. It could happen, not from me, but um, you see what he doesn't understand. He's made, he what the little fella does is he goes around telling everybody that I made a lot of enemies and Flywood's made a lot of enemies and Big Kevin made a lot of enemies and Barry made a lot of he but in reality he's the one making the enemies. So um when he said this morning, I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder, you better look over your shoulder, that's a threat. Now I am gonna report that, but he's lost his way. But I call it he's lost his curds and way. Could the same way Lady Karma hurt somebody that he cared about, that kind of stuff, those threats could come back to him the same way. Some unknown guy, somebody he's never heard the name of or seen, could be driving down the block, and the guy is driving the car, not paying attention, and he has an accident. That's karma. He keeps wishing all of these bad things to happen to people. And maybe something bad will happen to him. And the more he prays to this satanic force, the more bad will come to him. I keep telling him, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And he keeps doing that. He doesn't listen to reason. Mr. Google Hindsight, hello from Ascension Island. Whoa. Is that where they keep the ascended beings? Funny boy Peter Peach Burgers. He got nothing. He got nothing. Nothing. All that nonsense that he was running about taking me to court because I talk to people is nothing. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I didn't steal any information. I didn't post any information that was private. In other words, I didn't go to a website and hack their data file and put information on the internet. All I did was repost public videos on my channel if I posted anything at all, or a thumbnail of a public video. But he doesn't get that. He's doxed me a dozen different ways. All right, hold on a minute. I got a message here. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. The message says, I heard him ranting about this Batman crap this morning. He claimed that he asked the neighbor's 8-year-old son who his favorite superhero was. And the boy said, Batman. Okay. The supposed mail sent to the neighbors had Batman stamps. In his mind, that proved the tenants sent the packets and that somehow I supplied the information. Okay, now I understand. What does that mean, though? What is that going to mean in a court of law? You can't, it's not provable. It's not provable. It's not, on my fingerprints somehow on some kind of mail that is my DNA on the stamps. The guy is nuts. My DNA isn't on the stamps. I didn't send anything from the Philippines. The guy's just freaking nuts. All right, thanks. Thanks for explaining that. Yeah, the guy's just nuts. We're not talking about rational thinking here. So somebody. Now, I don't even know that. I'm thinking about this whole thing. You, there, a million lawyers, a million police officers, and a million postmaster generals, and a million police forensics experts. You can have. I'll give you permission. I'll give you permission to go into my computer. Forensically speaking, and look for proof. There isn't any proof that I did that. Jesus Christ, this guy is on a roll. He lost his mind. He's running around the yard like a chicken without a head looking for ghosts in the machine. No, in his mind, says Flywoods, that proved the tenants sent the packets. No, you see that in his mind it proves that. And what would prove that if the tenants did that, what would prove it is some sort of verification or DNA. Oh, what is he going to do? Get a DNA expert, like the guy from the O.J. Simpson trial, get some DNA off the stamps, and then call in, you know, and then get DNA off the tenants. Bring in the tenants for questioning, give them all a can of soda, and take the DNA off where they put their lips on the can or the glass. Jesus Christ, this guy is. That's proof. Or if the neighbors just admit that they did that, and I don't think they did. So if they didn't do it, there's no proof that they did it. Jesus Christ. Funny boy Pete's Burgers. Jesus is Lord. That's all you need to know. And if you want to keep it simple, that's probably true. Yeah, that guy is lost his way. He lost his curds and way. It's almost funny. It's not funny, but it's almost funny. But we've watched him deteriorate over the years. He's at a point right now where, if you're listening, little fella, let's go back to the little fella room for a minute. When I build a hotel, and and you're not gonna stop me, just listen real carefully now. If you donate $50,000, I'll make the first room at the top of the stairs, which is going to be on the right hand side, the little fella pavilion. And in the little fella pavilion, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have little fella memorabilia. You know those bobbleheads that you see in the cars with the dogs' heads bobbing up and down? We'll get a bunch of those made up with a little fella bobblehead with a spring, okay? Everybody that rents the little fella pavilion room gets two bobbleheads with the little fella bobbling his head back and forth. Okay, you get to put that in the little fella pillowcase. That you get to keep the little fella pillowcase. And then you could say, you could take the little fella pillowcase with the little fella embroidery that says, "I slept in the little fella pavilion." You take that home with you. You put the two bobbleheads in the pillowcase. Then the sandals, the slippers, the little fella slippers that you get everybody that rents the room gets a pair of little fella slippers. You get to throw the slippers in the pillowcase too. So if there's a man and a woman, they each get a pillowcase. They each get two little fella bobbleheads. They each get one pair of little fella slippers. Then on the wall, all around the room, is going to be little fella memorabilia pictures. Like the time that, let's just say, a big day, like the time the little fella, he went to the grocery store and he had the turkey. I think that's on video, right? We'll have like a little fella, somebody will have somebody take a picture, a screenshot of the little fella holding a butterball turkey, because that was one of the few times he ever left the house. So that was a big moment in little fella history. And then that'll be one picture on the wall. And then we'll have a little fella website set up if you want to rent a little fella room, and it'll have all the pictures of the little fella that are in the room. It'll be on the website, free to download the pictures if you want. So when you enter into the room, there's going to be a three-dimensional little fella head on the door, like maybe like a life-size head, three-dimensional, one of those laser things, little fella laser head, and then on across the hallway, down the hall, there'll be little fella room, 1 meter to the right, and on the other end of the hallway, if you are reading this sign, you have passed the little fella pavilion. Turn back now, and then there'll be little fella discounts. Like if you call up and talk to my secretary and you say to her, look, I have a favorite little fella video, and you send the video, you'll get like a 5% discount because you had little fella memorabilia. And we'll put that on the website, and we'll just keep adding everybody's favorite little fella video. And that'll be free. We'll make a YouTube channel with the little fella memorabilia and pictures. So everybody gets a little fella pillowcase that says I slept in the little fella's room. Everybody gets 2 little fella bobbleheads. Everybody gets a pair of little fella slippers. And everybody gets free pictures of any of the little fella pictures that are on the wall from the website. If anybody has a suggestion, add it now, and I'll put it down in my notes for the little fella pavilion, future little fella pavilion ideas. You know how I like to make notes. I'll make notes of the best little fella ideas on the internet. Take that to your clinical psychologist. Little fella, how you doing today? How's that meltdown you had yesterday, okay? How you doing there, little fella? Mentioning my name in anger and telling me you're going to take my 500,000 pesos. For years, you told me I was broke and I had no pesos. Now you're going to take 500,000 pesos. Oh, I'm laughing now, baby. You're a funny dude. You're a funny guy, little fella. Boy, they have the music up high today. So we have 24 trolls watching, yeah? What, 20 trolls? That's a good number. How many of them do you think are police officers waiting for me to make a mistake? Like the little fella. I could picture the little fella right now calling up this agency and that agency and this person. He's talking about me again. He's going to make a little fella pavilion. See, he's crazy. No, dude. This is YouTube. You don't get it. But you will when you try to take all that stuff. When you try to prove, see, there are things that could be proven in life. Like you can prove that, in theory, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You could prove that. But trying to prove that I had anything at all to do with the actual physical, if it even happened, anything that had to do with sending out flyers, I had nothing to do with that. So it's not provable. There's no paper trail to that. There's no electronic trail to that. You said in today's video you're going to get an affidavit from who? From who are you going to get an affidavit? From a third party that heard something, that they're going to go and swear out an affidavit that I had something to do with something I know nothing about? You're stone, you're stone insane, dude. You're beyond, you're beyond the pale when it comes to help. If if you could get an affidavit from a guy that has nothing at all to do with this, then what I should do is walk through the prawn farm and ask somebody for an affidavit and make them sign it that tomorrow they're going to get 3 feet of snow in Bahal. That's what I should do. And that's how much water your affidavit. Nothing. A stranger, a third party that may or may not have heard something from somebody else that has nothing to do with me is going to swear out an affidavit that I had something to do with something I had nothing to do with. Do you not understand how insane that sounds? Is there a policeman in the room somewhere? Or a detective? Or a lawyer? Or a cyber crimes officer? Or a DEA agent? Or what you call it? NBI agent? Do you understand how stupid that sounds? That you're going to get a stranger that doesn't know me, that heard something from somebody that they can't prove they heard it from. And somehow that third party is going to swear out an affidavit that I'm guilty of a crime with no evidence at all. There's no evidence because there never was any evidence because I never did that thing. But it's going to cost you a lot of money to try to prove it. It's your money. That clinical psychologist was a fake and had all the earmarks of Heminger. Yeah, I watched about 2 minutes of that video and um, I forgot when it was, but I was I think I remember watching that. I think that was like early in the morning. Yeah, yeah, okay, that I remember. He said he would subpoena the guy if the guy wouldn't give an affidavit. You can't do that. You have to have evidence that the guy knows something to begin with before you can subpoena him. So he would have to bring evidence to the district attorney to prove that the guy knew something. And then the guy, it's all. Well, he can get the best. He can get the best solicitors in Cebu if he has enough money, but they can't prove anything that didn't happen. So what's the point? If something didn't happen, then how can you prove it did happen? Unless they lie. And if they're really good solicitors, they're not going to do that. They won't do that. They're going to listen to the evidence and say, we have a case or we don't have a case. And if they put together a case without evidence, it's going to go to become a frivolous case, and they won't do that. Most of the time, they wouldn't do it. Maybe here in the Philippines, they will. And when they lose, they have to pay for my lawyer's fees as well. The little fella, he doesn't have a leg to stand on. But for 50,000, would make the little fella room, the little fella pavilion, to Hades with the Warren H Pavilion. It's now going to be the little fella room, pavilion room. We'll make the little fella famous. of little fella slippers, little fella pillowcases, little fella bobbleheads. I like that idea. Little fella bobbleheads. I like that a lot. Little fella bobbleheads. I should have some of those. Somebody should make some of those up, put them online. Little fella bobbleheads. Oh, he's going to pay for that. He doesn't like to bring that Mushroom Man song thing up. That will destroy his entire case. He's trying to form a case without using that video, which is the premise of the case itself. He's not done with that. I think he's got a long way to go with that. I think that the little fella and the Mushroom Man song. I don't know what's going on with that, but I think that he's in a in a world of do with that. Pajamas. That's a good one, Flywoods. That's a good one. Yeah, you know what he forgets and he is forgetting this. The little fella, he made several dozen videos about my private body parts. He did that, and we have lots of evidence on that. And he tries to he tries to make that look like it wasn't a big thing. Not my private parts, but that the whole story is not important. That is the premise of what this is all about. That's the preface, the premise. That's the reason all of this happened. The reason it all is happening is because of the Mushroom Man song. And he's trying to bring the Mushroom Man song into the picture without bringing him into the picture with whoever else was in the picture with him in the Mushroom Man song. He can't do it. They're going to take one listen to that song and they're going to say, because it's not going to be NBI, it's going to be just people with voice recognition technology. Is this you? Yeah. And he already admitted it. It's in one of, I think, DQ, DQ's videos that he admitted that he sang a song and it's just a song. He admitted he did it. He screwed himself when he admitted that, but that's all besides the point. The premise of the premise for the next stage, if there's going to be a next stage, is going to be him explaining that. And it can't be explained. No authoritative figure in the world is going to accept any explanation for that. I did hear a video this morning that he was going to get somebody's father to come in and testify or swear out an affidavit or make a statement. He's not going to get that. It's not going to happen. That guide is not going to stand up for him. No matter. I can't see that happening. But anyway, if he can get that done, it would be good for him, yeah? But I don't see it happening. But he's the one who sang the song. He's the one where he was. He's the one that he's going to bring me somehow up on charges because of a shirt. He can't do it. He has to bring the Mushroom Man's song into the legalities of it, which will screw him in the beginning, in the middle, and the end of the day. Can't get women. Hey, Miko Man. You know what, Miko Man? I don't brag about my past and I don't talk about my women. You're never going to get me to say anything bad about the women, any of the women I ever dated. And whether or not I can get women or whether or not I want women, you should take that into consideration. But don't try to bait me to talk about women or how many women I dated or how many women I could date. Don't do that. One more one more left-handed compliment that I consider baiting, and you will be off the alpha male channel. If I wanted to give half of my life's time and devote it to a woman, then I would do that. But I don't want to do that. I have other things I wish to do with my time. I met a girl. I will tell you a story about a girl I met that I could have dated day before yesterday on the jeepney on the way home. Um, and I adamantly told her, do not come to my house. I don't want you coming to my house because she knew where I lived by this time on the way home from the jeepney. Pretty girl. When I when we rented the tricycle to go home, me, that girl, and two older women. The one that got a flat 3 nights ago, 2 nights ago, there was a girl, and it turns out she lives very close to me, very close. And she was pretty. She's about 32 years old. And this is she had. I said, "Do you have any children?" No. Can you swim? Oh yeah, I'm a good swimmer. I live right on the ocean. She lives right down the block from me. So I said, well, maybe we'll go out to the reef together. She goes, that sounds good. So then I said, do you have any children? She goes, no, but I have 6 dogs. I said, no, I don't want to date you. She goes, why not? I said, because anybody that has 6 dogs or 6 cats, something wrong with you inside your head to take care of 6 dogs. This is a poor country, and you have to feed 6 dogs every day, 3 times a day, walk 6 dogs or pick up after 6 dogs. She goes, they're rescue dogs. I rescued them off the beach. No, I don't want to date you. So she would have been a woman I could have dated, but I would never date anybody with 6 dogs or 6 children. But if I wanted a woman and I wanted to relinquish half of my life's time to devote to a woman, I probably could do that. But I choose not to. So no more left-handed compliments, Miko man, because you just sound like Miko, who I canned from the channel yesterday. I can get women. And if you really want to go to the other extreme, I don't date women with children. You can get I can walk out of here and an hour from now have a date with a woman with a kid. Actually 3 different women in a store. They've all been wanting to date me since Daisy and I broke up a year and a half ago. And they all knew Daisy, but they all have 1 and 2 children. And they're all beautiful women. I don't want to date women with kids. I'm not going to date women with kids. So, but that's pretty much what you're up against. But you're up against relinquishing half your life's time to a woman. And to be honest, you want to take a guess while I go get a glass of something to drink? Miko, Mick, whatever your name, Miko Mick. Take a guess. What do you think it's going to cost you per month to have a woman live with you here in the Philippines? Take a stab at it. Go ahead, I dare you. I bet you missed by $200. I'll be back in a few minutes. If you don't take a guess, then what I'm going to do when I get back is I'm going to block you forever. So you want to be a smart guy, add something to the conversation that makes sense. Otherwise, you are going to become ancient history. Not the crime. Nick, can you take this? Thank you. No, no, no. Thank you. Wow. There's a guy. There's a guy, man after my own heart, actually, sitting a couple of tables away. He, I know he had regular food. I saw his regular food before, but now he's just got a freaking 9-inch platter of shrimp, 4 inches high. They'll give you all the shrimp you want to eat here. I'd say Nico. Okay. I'd say $200 a month, Michael. It depends on if she's looking for money for her family. By the way, I know you can get women. Just giving you a heads up on what the little fellow was spouting. Oh yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, I didn't know where you stood with that. Okay, okay, I got the. I didn't have the microphone on. Sorry. Um, I okay. So now I understand that you're not trolling me. Thank you. Okay, $200 a month? No, no. Forget that. Forget that. Let me tell you what my monthly expenses were for when Daisy and I lived together, and this is going back 2 years now. We spent for our foods only. We, if you go back through my videos, this is a logistical number, a reasonable number that we came to the conclusion that for my foods and her foods, we spent 12,000 pesos a month. Now, if you go back through my videos, that's the number we said. So that is 12,000 is $240 a month. Half of that is hers and half is mine. So that's 120. Now we had Daisy's teeth cleaned every 3 months. So that's another $7. Say 10. Okay, so that's 130. Now Daisy got 35,000 pesos each year to go on vacation to her mother's house in Capelon for 4 or 5 weeks. She left before Christmas and came back in the middle of January. So take another 4,000 pesos, take another 80 on top of the 130. That's $210 when you're averaging this out. So that's $210. Now, she required sneakers, loads for the phone. We got her hair done once a year. She wanted her hair straightened out. Her mother came to see us also. So that was another, say, 3,000 pesos another 60. So we're up to 200 and say 60, 275, $280 a month. On those are the now that doesn't cover transportation for Daisy, and it doesn't cover uh, loads for the phone. It doesn't cover monies for the family. So that wasn't a big deal. That really wasn't a lot of money. But let's just say we went from a 280. Let's say add if I added it all up, 10, another 50. Let's just say $330 a month. Then still we didn't cover transportation, like when she wanted to go, or vacations. And then each time we went to Cebu for something, it was two fares. So we had another, I don't know, add another 2,000 pesos a month. So that would be 330, 350 a month. So 350 a month. Now you have to add doctor bills, and you have to add incidentals. Incidentals are the 12,000 pesos was only for food. The incidentals were uh, shampoo, conditioner. She wasn't much into fingernail polish or anything. She never used that stuff. Q-tips, women's stuff, the feminine hygiene products, and another $25 a month to the three. So figure $400 a month. Now I broke that down for you in my head on a live stream, but Daisy and I sat down and figured it out penny for penny with the bills because we kept every bill that we spent for us and for the hotel and for medical bills. Oh, there's also medicine in case one aspirin, not medicine, but aspirin, Tylenol, uh, paracetamol, and ibuprofen. We Daisy and I sat down and figured this out. It was 22,000 22,000 pesos a month, $440 a month. I broke it down for you real quick, but it was $440 a month at the end of the day, at the end of the year, over the course of the years with her vacations, her mother's vacations to see us, stuff like that. So about $440. So you're off by $200. and and also now none of any of the things, if you'll notice, none of any of those none of any of those bills that I talked about, not one of those included that my wallet was open on the table or wherever I put my wallet. She had access to my wallet. So anytime she ever needed money, she didn't have to ask and she didn't have to tell me she took money. She did tell me. Like if she wanted to go buy fish, she didn't have to wake me up in the middle of the night. She just went, got my wallet, and she took what she needed to go to the fish market. And she'd go to the fish market at 6 o'clock in the morning when the boats came in. But there were other incidentals like that you don't figure for. Who knows? She could decide I need something and take 1,000 pesos. I wouldn't even know it because I just don't keep track of small items like that. But but we figured it was $440 a month, and that's and Daisy did not ask for much at all. Um, she was not materialistic in any way, shape, or form, and I also had to give her an allowance, and her allowance was whatever money she needed, whenever she needed it, she took. That was her allowance. There was no budget for an allowance. I would never do that. My father, my father and my mother, we did not have an allowance. My father left $50 on the bureau in change and bills. If we wanted to buy ice cream, we just took the money for ice cream. If we wanted to buy a soda, we just took the money to buy a soda. If we needed a tire for the bicycle, we just took the money off the bureau for the bicycle tire. My father did not keep track of the money. When the money ran out, if it was a reasonable amount of time, say a month, because $50 was a lot of money back then, the money would run out, and then he'd throw another $50 or $20 on the table in change. All his change went on the bureau, and then all his singles went on the bureau. So I was never budgeted when I was a child. So I treat my women the same way. So Daisy, whenever she needed anything, she got. Daisy would say, "I need a pair of sneakers," and we would be the next morning. We would be on the way to Sandugo to buy her two pairs of sneakers. She never asked for anything. But when she wanted a karaoke machine, that's not part of that money. It was 11,000 pesos. She said, "I want a karaoke machine at 5 o'clock at night," and the next afternoon she had a karaoke machine in the house. So I don't uh, I don't budget my women. If I'm going to go with a woman, I'm not. But 400 dollars plus a month for a non-materialistic woman like Daisy 3 years ago was what it cost. Now it's be a lot more. So you'd have to go $500 to $600 a month. Do I have it? Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I would choose not to. That if I dated somebody again, I don't know that it'll happen for any in any reasonable time frame, but um, I think I would prefer a woman like a professional woman. Not a woman with her own business. Somebody self sufficient. I'm getting a little old. Probably not going to happen like that, but um, I would prefer somebody a little bit more financially resourceful. Now, in Daisy's case, she worked with me, and she had an unlimited allowance because the money that she would have earned working, she was working for me. So I never questioned what money she wanted. And in addition to all of that, when Daisy left, which was in August, she continued to get money all the way through February of the following year on a regular basis, enough money to live. And that had nothing to do with our monthly allowance. Daisy was a sweet, yeah, Daisy was a sweet girl. Now you hear the little fella say, I can't get women. But here's the truth now. I had a woman coming on December 20th, and I had another woman coming on December 24th. Both of those got canceled out. Now that was an expensive mistake on my behalf because I bought round trip tickets for one of those women, and that's gone. There's no refunds on those tickets. In addition to sending them in advance so that they could, I don't know, one wanted to buy snacks, pizza. She wanted snacks. She considers a $12 pizza pie a snack, which is okay. I see that. And he thought that proved him so smart. Yeah, that was a big leap, hop, skip, and a jump. I don't know if you're on my live stream or not. Yeah, yeah. The girls that cut my hair, no, it wasn't any of them that were coming. But see, now they had girls they wanted me to meet. Um, but all the girls that they wanted me to meet had babies. If you want to meet a girl with a baby in the Philippines, you can meet 100. Look, Mako, man, I don't know where you live. You just I'm here 7 years. Next week is 7 years, and the culture here. If you date a woman with a child, that child becomes your responsibility. But believe me when I tell you, the child is never going to be. It's different here. You marry or you date a woman with a child. That woman, the child's father, mother, the child's father, and the child's grandparents, and the father's immediate family, you all become one blended in, you know, family, like a tribe. I don't want that. I don't want that. I've had people. No, I don't want that. I've had it before, where you're with a woman with children, and all of a sudden you're paying for everything the children need, and then the father needs. No, 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 no. It's different here, man. You gotta take my word for it. Unless you're rich, you don't do that kind of stuff. And another thing, you believe what you want. I dated women from the island of Bohol, and their families lived on the island of Bohol close by. You don't want to do that. There's a lot of reasons why. In one of my apartments on the water in Alona Beach, I always keep a fully stocked refrigerator. Well, one of the girls, when I went swimming, and my swims to Alona Beach took 3 hours. It would take me 3 hours to swim to Alona Beach. I would swim along the reef and do video. There's hundreds of videos of me doing that. But I would come back 3.5 hours later. I came home and my house was literally empty. The foods were gone out of my refrigerator, out of my cupboards. My toothpaste was gone. My aspirins were gone, and her family was there. They drank. I don't drink beer, and I didn't keep alcohol in the house. But they used up all my iced tea. I had like 5 pounds of iced tea powder. It was all gone. Told me her family drank it. They took it. The family took whatever was in the house. The medicines in my medicine cabinet were all gone. You don't understand what it's like living here. These people are poor, and when they're invited into your house, maybe not all of them will take something, but they want something. You got to live here to understand what I'm talking about. Now, um, it wasn't a lot of stuff that they took, but I mean, 5 pounds of iced tea powder. Okay, you know, they like iced tea, but they took my toothpaste. The little odds, little incidentals like that. What do I need that for? I don't want that. Yeah, that's true. Flywood says 20 years ago, most girls did not have children or even in a relationship until their mid 20s. Now they have one child. Yeah, the gingerbread man. Yeah, he does. He has to listen. He can say whatever he wants. He's contributing bigly to the family. He's contributing. And that's entirely up to him. But I don't believe for a minute that he's not helping out the family in many ways that he doesn't talk about. Flywoods. I bought the airline tickets. I don't want to get involved with all the incidentals. Before I bought the airline tickets, I sent 3,000 pesos so she could have snacks. So that was 10,000 pesos. That's just gone. And she said, "Well, I'm going to rebook it, and I'll get the money back." But I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's going to happen. So she'll want more money, to rebook it, and I won't give it to her. What I'll do is I'll tell her that she can come, and I'll reimburse her airfare when she gets here. But sending the money again, now it wasn't her fault that she didn't come. There was no way that the storm was her fault. She was at the airport. She was ready to get on the plane. The plane was delayed 10 hours. That's not her fault. But I'm not going to send another airfare. And it's going to be one-way airfare here. And when she gets here, if we get along with each other, she can stay a week or a month. And then we'll make a flight to go back if she wants to go back. But no more upfront paid for vacation in advance. And the next time she decides to come, the week before, when she wants 3,000 pesos so she can go out and have pizza, she can borrow it from her mother. Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing. But that money, they spend that money as fast as you send it, they spend it. Yeah, I don't know. The Bureau of Immigration, uh, they, I had a girl, what was her name? She threatened the Bureau of Immigration. Why did she do that? I don't really remember. She said she could have people, not me, it wasn't about me to begin with, but she said she could have people thrown out of the Philippines because she knew somebody in the Bureau of Immigration. But that's not true. That's not possible. That's just not possible. It's that's what they threaten you with. All right, so look, it's 10 minutes to 2. Um, I got to get out of here because I'm gonna go downstairs. No, I'm not gonna go now. I'm not gonna get what I wanted. That's for sure. No, I'm gonna go back upstairs and see if I can get a load. That'll take 15 minutes if there's a line, and then it takes me 2 hours to get home. It's a miracle, Flywoods. It's a miracle, Frank. She, you. It's a miracle. I need the bill. Thank you. Um, Flywoods is shooting the magical seed. Man, they hit me hard today. I had 2 plates of food, 3 soups, and 1 salad. The bill, please. Thank you. They got back at me today. I just didn't feel like eating a lot of food today, but I did have 2 pieces of cake. Actually, it was good cake too. It was banana nut cake. It was freaking delicious. Actually, I just finished that. Yeah. Oh, wow. I had 100, 200. Yeah, I was down to. Wait, you stay here. I want to give you. I want to. Just bring me back 500 pesos, okay? You keep 100. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. Oof. Let me get my credit card back in there. Yep. Yeah. What? Mila was her name. Mila. She was on about somebody that did something to her, theoretically did something to her. I don't know. And she was telling me how she could have the guy deported and this, that, and the other thing. Well, she was just wait. No, wait here. All right, here. You take that with you. Thank you very much. She was on about Milo was a strange woman, man. Milo was one in a million girl. Let me tell you. I talked to Mila for a year or more before I came to the Philippines, and we made plans for a year when I was coming, what day I was coming. So I was coming January 10th. I was arriving in Cebu at the airport at 2 p.m. January 10th. I bought my tickets going back in August before January, August of 2013. I'm arriving 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Cebu airport January 10th. And Mila is going to meet me at the airport. So Mila never asked for money. I got to tell you, a couple of times she was spending money on loads. She had to, right? She had to go to the internet cafe. Um, we did Skype like once a week. We Skyped each other so we could see each other's face. She was 27. I was pretty serious with her because she showed up whenever she was supposed to show up, and she was one of the few girls that would do that. And we were going to meet, and there was no. We agreed there wasn't going to be any. She was a virgin. She really was a virgin too. But I believe she said it, But after I met her, I believed it, and she had never kissed a man before. So I would have been the first man she ever kissed. That's true too, and I believe that. So somewhere in December, she said to me, it's the holiday. She says, uh, "Can you send me?" It was $50. Can you send me $50 so I can buy a nice pair of shoes and a dress so I will look pretty for you at the airport? Because Mila was a poor girl. She came from a poor family. I found all of this stuff out to be true because I dated her for a long time. And so I sent the $50 and we made arrangements for her to be at the airport on January 10th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And that's when my flight arrived at 1. So we took 2. And on January 9th, I talked to her on Skype. See you tomorrow. And I got to the airport on January 10th after flying, or maybe I talked to her January 8th because it was a 30. I got on the plane It was 39 hours because it was the blizzard, the end all, be all, end all of blizzards. That blizzard was every airport in America and Canada was iced in. I mean, solidly iced in. And the we had a 12-hour layover in what Ontario, I think it was, because of ice. The ice on the runway was 6 inches. And I remember when the plane was taxiing down the runway to get to the runway, it was in. You could see the treads where the tires were 6 inch troughs. So uh, at LaGuardia Airport, the traffic was 2.5 hours backed up because of the ice storm. So my brother and I left the house 9 o'clock in the morning. We got to the airport. It's a 20-minute ride. We got there at noon. The flight was going to leave at 3. Flight left at 11 o'clock at night. And when I got we went to Canada. They searched my bags in Canada. I don't know why. They didn't find anything. And I got on the plane, Philippines airline. I switched at that point to a Philippines airline plane. And we got to the from the time I left my house in New York to the time I got to the Philippines was 39 hours. I get to the airport and Mila is not there. And I don't know anything about the Philippines internet. I don't even have a cell phone yet. I didn't have. She was supposed to meet me there. What do I need? What do I need a cell phone for? She was going to take care of all of that stuff. She didn't show up. Not only didn't she show up, but I I got online at a hotel. The the cost you an arm and a leg hotel. It's on my old channel, the Costa Bella Hotel. I call it cost an arm and a leg. What a dump. What an overpriced dump that is. So I, at the airport, they lost my luggage. I don't have luggage now. I have nothing. I have my backpack and my cameras. So so I said to the driver, take me. Now, Milo lived in Lapu-Lapu. Take me to a hotel in Lapu-Lapu. Not so expensive. Yes, sir. So he goes, this is not a good area to be in, sir. We should have a hotel on a compound with walls. So I said, okay. So I get to the Costa Bella Hotel, and I go. They give us some kind of delicious pineapple drink or guava drink, or could have been mango shake for all I remember. I don't remember. And it was delicious. And they sit us down, and they booked me in $110 a night. But here's the kicker: there's a storm raging in Lapu-Lapu. The rain is coming down literally at 40-kilometer winds sideways. So we're in the hotel lobby, which is an open lobby under the building, and the wind is blowing rain 50 feet in from the outside edge of the building. So it was now, by this time, I got there at 2 o'clock. I got off the plane 3 o'clock. Mila's not there. I wait till I try to get my bags. My bags are gone. My bags are in France. My bags are not in the Philippines. So now I have to come back, and they're going to call me up a week from now. And when they get my bags back, they knew where my bags were, but my bags were in France and I was in the Philippines. Because when we went through Canada, somehow my bags went to France. I have no idea how that happened. I don't care, but that's not the point. So I'm at the Costa Bella. And Mila, I got online. It cost me $1 a minute. The wonderful people at the Costa Bella Hotel, these freaking thieving bastards that they are, um, they charged me $1 a minute and $1 a text to text Mila. That's what they charged. $1 a minute for the phone when I called up, and no one, she never answered, and $1 for each text. So, and to use the internet was $1 a minute to use their Wi-Fi. So I had spent about, I don't know, $20 or $30 with the internet and the phones and the texting. I thought maybe something happened to the girl, but she just didn't show up. So I get into the room. Room is beautiful room, beautiful room. But I was supposed to have a view of the ocean. I could see a brick wall with glass bottles broken on top of it, and a roof with garbage all over the roof. I have video, the Costa Bella Hotel videos. They're on my Hoodwing channel. And I stayed there for the night. And I said to the guy the next day, the wind, the storm was unbelievable. It was a typhoon. And you couldn't go kayaking. You couldn't go in the pool. You couldn't go on the beach. It was all roped off. There was nothing to do. I said, you know what? You give me this hotel room for $50 a night and I'll stay here for a week. No, sir. $110 a night. So I left. I got into a cab and I found the Golden Prince. Eventually, I ended up at the Golden Prince, which was a beautiful place to stay while I was there. So that's it. I'm done with my show. So thanks for watching. Tell the little fella that I'm going to set him up with the little fella pavilion. We're not going to do the Warren H pavilion anymore. We're going to have the little fella pavilion. Everybody gets 2 free bobbleheads that stay in the little fella pavilion room at the top of the stairs. Should be the last room on the left, knowing the little fella like I do, but gotta go. Thanks for watching. I'll be back in 2 days. Well, I might do a show from the house tomorrow. Now, if I get a load, so I gotta get out of here, guys. Thank you very much. It's been fun. I'm Big Permy from Mr. Congeniality. Don't forget the jammies. Oh yeah, Milo. Uh, oh God. About 3 weeks later, I heard from her. She took that $50 and she went to Dumagetti to her cousin's wedding. I spent Valentine's Day with her. She took me around the city of Cebu. We went to the church of uh, all the churches she took me to, all the beautiful churches, all the beautiful landmarks in Cebu. She never asked for a dime. She's a very quiet girl. She's not in any of my videos. She would never wanted to be in a video. Turned out to be a really nice girl, but not for me. Okay, but just not for me. But she took me all over Cebu, took care of me. But I said to her, why did she was embarrassed? I don't. But it took about 2 or 3 weeks before I heard from her again, and then we started dating, and she was a very nice girl, but not for me. She wanted to get married. She was still a virgin. And then after we got married, then we could, consummate the deal. And that wasn't the reason I didn't want to marry her, but that was one thing she wanted to do that was, to me, a little unrealistic. I mean, I could have waited a few months, but she wanted to get married right away. And that's how she was. She was a traditional Filipino or Filipina. So she was a nice girl. I do have video of her on the beach in Bohol. She later came to Bohol for a couple of days. Turned out to be a very nice vacation. but no love, no love, and that was probably the last time I saw her. But I got no complaints other than she didn't show up at the airport. But after we got to moving around Cebu and stuff like that, it was a lot of fun. She was a great host, a great hostess. She knew where to go. She got me good. She brought me to showed me where the vans were, how the public transportation worked, and all of that. She was all in all, she was a very nice. She was a good girl, literally and figuratively speaking. She was a good girl, and we don't keep in touch. If she watches my videos, I wouldn't know about it. But after she left from the hall, we left as friends, but that was it. We realized that we weren't going to love each other. I guess you could say that. I don't even know how to get in touch with her. Gotta go. Okay. I can't. I put my glasses in my case so I can't see anything. I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm unplugging the microphone now, and I'm going to. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. I got things to do. It's 2 o'clock. By the time I get home, even if I left right now for home with the things I got to do in this mall, I won't be home until 6:30. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you in a. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Depends on what I get done today. I'm Big Permy from the Philippines, baby. That's right. From Mr. Congeniality himself, Leichenberg. Take care. Leichenberg, you were around for one of the girls I dated on the beach. I remember. If you're the, I think you're the man I thinking about. I gotta go. I gotta use the boys' room. Bye bye for now. I'm Big Permy from the Philippines, baby. That's right. Bye bye for now.